John Whitman was a man admired by everyone in his quiet little town. To neighbors, he was the perfect man, a dedicated school teacher, a kind husband, and a loving father of 2 children. He followed the same routine every morning. He'd wake up early, brew a fresh cup of coffee, and enjoy a few quiet moments at the window, watching the sun rise. Then he'd kiss his wife on the forehead, wave goodbye to his kids, and head off to school with a smile. On the surface, John lived a perfectly normal life. But what no one knew, was that John was living a lie. Every Friday evening, he packed a small bag, a few clothes, a camera, some essentials, and told his family he was going to visit his elderly aunt in another city. Aunt May, he called her. Frail, lonely, and needing care. But that aunt never existed. The truth? John had another life. One day, he mentioned a son to Elise, then quickly changed the topic. Another day, he called his wife, Elise, by accident. Small slips, but enough to crack the mask. As he got older, the burden of living 2 lives began to take its toll. He felt tired, drained. He couldn't sleep. He couldn't rest, because every moment of peace meant another moment of pretending. And then, it happened. One Monday morning, while teaching in class, John collapsed. His heart gave out. Paramedics rushed him to the hospital. He was unconscious, hooked to machines. Barely hanging on. The hospital nurse, unaware of his secret, called both emergency contacts listed on his records. Within the hour, both his wife and his girlfriend arrived. At the same hospital. At the same time. The confusion turned to suspicion. Suspicion to confrontation. And confrontation leads to rage. 30 years of secrets, exposed in a hospital hallway. The truth poured out like a flood. Photos. Messages. Keys. Apartments. Everything. When John finally woke up, groggy and weak, he saw the faces of 2 women staring at him, not with love, but with betrayal. His double life had ended. So had his marriage. So had his relationship with Elise. He lost his job. His reputation. His home. Everything he had built, both lives, gone in an instant. Later, when interviewed by a journalist, John simply said, "I lived 2 lives, and lost them both." Now, he lives alone. In a small apartment. No photos on the wall, no laughter in the room. Just silence, and memories. Sometimes, he looks at his old camera. Sometimes, he passes by the school he once taught in. Sometimes, he dreams of both lives. And wakes up to none. This. It is not a story about romance. Not a story about thrill. Not even a story about adventure. It's a story about the price of lies. How long can you wear a mask before it starts to consume your face? How long can you lie before the truth breaks everything? In the end, John didn't choose one life over the other. He lost both. Because you can't live a double life forever. In that other city, he wasn't John at all. He was known as Mark Rivers. Mark was everything John wasn't. Single, free-spirited, adventurous. He lived in a cozy little apartment tucked away in a bustling city neighborhood. He worked as a freelance photographer, capturing weddings, street portraits, and scenic landscapes. And he had a girlfriend. Her name was Elise. Young, ambitious, full of life. To her, Mark Rivers was the one. Her soulmate. Her future husband. She had no idea he was married. No idea he had children. No idea she was living a love story built on lies. For 30 years. John lived like this. Weekdays in his quiet town, helping students solve equations. Weekends in the city, behind a camera, whispering promises of forever. He kept 2 phones. 2 wardrobes. 2 identities. He even had 2 birthdays. He carefully managed both lives, never overlapping them, always cautious, always calculating. If his wife planned a weekend getaway, he'd fake a school emergency. If Elise wanted to introduce him to her parents, he'd say a job came up. Excuses. Lies. Over and over. And with every passing year, the pressure grew. He started to mix up stories. He'd forget what he told whom.